Welcome to the next video in the Quick Start series on rapidly preparing courses for online delivery. Over the next few minutes, we will cover the essentials for customizing 1 week of content in a templated Canvas course. After finishing this video, you will be able to edit and copy templated items in your Canvas course, including pages, discussions, assignments, and quizzes, launch live lectures through the Confer Zoom tool embedded in Canvas, publish your course, and check to ensure the content is available to your students just the way you expect it to be. To follow along, you will need to have the weekly content template imported into your course. This template is available at hartnell.edu/pdc. Click on the Quick Start Online Teaching Support page to find the template. This is also where you can find the first video in the Quick Start series that walks you through the import process. Before we dive in, please note that this is by no means a comprehensive training on delivering an online course, but if you need to get a week's worth of content into Canvas very quickly, this will get you started. If you remember from the first video, you'll go to hartnell.edu/canvas to log into Canvas. Click on the course where you've already imported the template. It should look something like this. The template may have changed since this video was created, but it should look something like this. The minute you log into your course, you're going to see the welcome page. At the top of the welcome page, you'll see highlighted text, followed by some plain text. The highlighted text indicates an area that you have to customize with your own content. There are a few places in the course where highlighted text is just for your information. The welcome page is one of those. Before we start customizing this course, let's take a walkthrough to see what we have available. The minute you and your students log in, you'll be greeted by the welcome page, and students will have access to a Canvas overview generic video that will show them how to get around Canvas and fulfill essential tasks. Students are then guided to check out an About Your Instructor page, review the course syllabus, and then they're directed to get started with modules. Let's take a look at the About Your Instructor page. This page has a lot of information that you'll need to fill in: your name, contact information, office hours, and anything else you'd like to add about yourself. You also have a photo placeholder where you can replace the photo with one of yourself or remove it entirely. You'll also notice there's a couple of places throughout this template that have additional guidance for students. This helps them to navigate this course. The next item was the course syllabus. This one also has some built-in navigation features to help you and your students get around. You'll replace the highlighted text here with your own syllabus. You can copy and paste this from a Word document, or you can upload it as a file. We'll go over that more in a minute, but I just wanted you to have an idea of what this looks like. This attribution text can be removed. This is just for instructors to be able to reach out with feedback or questions. After students are guided through the video, the About Your Instructor page, and the syllabus, they're directed to go into the course modules. This template is only 1 week worth of content. You do have the ability to copy as many items as you would like. Just hit the 3 vertical dots to the right of the item and select Duplicate. You can do this as many times as you'd like. You can also create additional modules by hitting plus module. You can move around the items in each module by clicking on the vertical dots to the left of each item. This module is designed to start with an overview page where students will see all of the items they will need to complete that week. The next item is the weekly lesson. This is your lecture space, and we'll go more into that in a minute. There's lots of different ways that you can offer your lectures. After that, there's an optional discussion. So again, you can use any of these items or you can lose any of these items. The discussion is a space where students can connect with one another, share their experiences, and this is a great way to encourage deeper investigation of the course materials. The week 1 assignment is a Dropbox area where students can submit files. You can also include instructions and guidelines for their assignment, and this is where they will submit them online to you, and this is where you'll do your grading too. There is a week 1 quiz. This is a multiple choice, low stakes type assessment. It can be auto graded. It just depends on how you set it up. So we'll go more into that item as well. And at the very end, there is a summary that covers what students learned this week in a very simple way, and make sure that they are guided to look back over the syllabus, re-review the overview page, so they're not missing any items. So let's dive into the week 1 overview and see what we need to customize. As I said before, any highlighted text needs to be replaced or removed. Any of the text that is not highlighted, you're welcome to leave as is or modify as needed. The first item in the overview page are the learning outcomes. This can be written in plain language. You can just give them an idea of what they're going to get out of this week, or you can just copy and paste some of the outcomes from the course outline in Curricunet. The next item is to enter any assigned reading. You can enter in chapters, page numbers, articles, anything that you need here. Just make sure that it's included here. The last item is the work that students will need to complete. And this introduces them to the lecture that they're going to do. So you'll want to give them an idea as to the topic they're going to be learning about this week. You can deliver those live lectures through Confer Zoom, or they can be written lessons, interactive presentations, anything like that. We'll talk more about that when we click next. And the last item that you'll need to customize here are any required discussions, assignments, or quizzes that students are expected to complete. You won't need to add any due dates or specific details about those assignments that they're expected to complete. This really functions as a checklist, so it guides students' efforts through the week. Remember, if you find yourself suddenly having to create an online course, those students are suddenly having to take an online course. So the more support you build in and the more guidance you add, the better it's going to be and the more likely they are to be successful in your course. Let's click next. I'll show you how to customize in a few minutes, but let's just keep reviewing the content. This lesson page can be as complex or simple as you would like. Start off by putting in the goals for this lesson. Again, plain language is just fine. The highlighted text at the bottom can be completely removed, but do please read that information. It has some really helpful guidance for developing your lesson and what tools you might employ to make this happen. The easiest way to get started is to use Confer Zoom for your lectures. If you leave the templated text here for students, this will guide them to join the live lecture at the date and time listed in the syllabus. This should be at the same time as your normal face-to-face class time. It's just online versus in person. All students need to do is click on Confer Zoom in the left navigation course menu, and then they'll click Join, and they'll instantly be connected to the live lecture. Likewise, you will follow that same process. You will click on Confer Zoom, like this, and you will click Quick Launch. This will instantly put you into a classroom. So we'll give it a title, let's say, Lecture Topic 1. We'll do a 2-hour lecture. Click Open Zoom. And you will be immediately connected. You can join the audio by phone call or computer audio. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm recording and that would be disastrous, I think. And you can start your webcam or not. You can share your screen, and you'll also be able to do other things like record to the cloud. This does put a recording in your class, and you'll learn a lot more about that in the next video. For now, I'm going to end the meeting. and I'm right back in my course. If you get kicked out by accident or whatever happens, you can go back in at any time to confer Zoom in your course, and you can click on host and it'll put you back in the same class. This is what the students see. They're going to click confer Zoom, and if you've got a current lecture going, they're going to be able to join just by clicking join and then open Zoom. Very, very simple, straightforward process. Let's go back into our modules. And we were in the week 1 lesson. So these instructions guide students to that, and it also gives them a link for the Confer Zoom student guide, which will help them with troubleshooting if they have any trouble connecting. Let's click next. The next item we have in the template is a week 1 discussion. It's set up to be graded, although there are no points added. We'll cover that in a second. And there are instructions here that you'll need to fill in. It can be as simple as adding a couple of questions for your students to answer. The guidelines are a suggestion. This allows students to participate and have very clear expectations. So they'll write a few sentences or a couple of paragraphs responding to your questions above. They'll need to post their original response a couple of days before the due date that you indicate. Then by the final due date, they'll have to post a reply. This encourages students to have substantive interaction with their peers. You may not need to use online discussions at all if you're having Confer Zoom lectures where students are really able to engage with the lecture content and discuss these things with each other. But this is a great opportunity for students who either don't feel comfortable with Zoom or they're having technical issues and they can't really share, or if they just don't get a chance to share, this gives them an opportunity to share. Supporting materials, you can fill those in below. Even if you put something as casual as watch the lecture before you respond or participate in this discussion, again, give them what they need to be successful in this course. At the very bottom, there is a link to the student guide to using discussions, so that way if they're a little bit lost, they have that support resource. The next item in the template is an assignment. Again, it's set up similarly to the discussion where there's instructions that you enter, guidelines where you tell students what is expected of them, and a link to any supporting materials, and then a student support link. This is set up by default as a Dropbox type assignment where students will be able to submit a file. This could be something like a PowerPoint file, a Word document, a PDF, whatever kind of file you want, they can submit here. You'll want to enter in the due date. Again, we'll talk about how to do that in a minute. And then we'll move on to the next bit of templated content, which is a quiz. Quizzes are a great resource in Canvas. They can be automatically graded depending on how you set them up. If you set them up as multiple choice, students will be able to take the quiz, answer it, and get immediate grade feedback. And you don't have to spend a lot of time grading and sending back their items. We'll go over more of these options and how to set this up in just a second. Let's look at the final bit of content in the template here, which is the weekly summary. So you can just remove that highlighted text, or you can briefly summarize the work that your students completed that week. You can even just copy this from the overview page. It's just a nice summary, and it's a reminder that way if students have skipped any of the content by accident, it's a good solid reminder so they know what they needed to complete. If you have another module, a next button will appear here, and that's what students will click to move on to the next week. So let's talk about how to actually fill in this information. So if I go into the overview, all I need to do is click edit. Once I'm in edit mode, I can start typing here. Now you'll notice that sometimes, not all the time, you may have that yellow highlighting format. So highlight the text that's affected by it and select the clear formatting option up here in your text editor. Looks like a little T with an X. Click that and the yellow highlighting is removed. And again, just fill in whatever information you need. And then you can click Save, or you can click Save and Publish. We'll talk more about publishing shortly. Students cannot see things you publish in the course unless your course is published. So you'll need to both publish each content piece and you'll need to publish your overall course. So if you're really sure that this piece of content is ready to go, you can hit Save and Publish. And you'll get this nice green check mark at the top. Very easy to unpublish. Hover your mouse, click, and it's unpublished very, very quickly. I'm going to leave it unpublished and go on to the next. So again, just edit this piece of content, type whatever you need, save and publish. I'm just going to save. Next item, this should be the discussion. Again, we have an edit button at the top right. And we can enter any of our own text. Down here we have a couple of options. I encourage you to review these, but don't make yourself crazy. If you want to just get it up and running very quickly, leave the default options, enter in those points possible. These are your grade points. Give it a due date. You don't need to add available from or until dates. Just leave a due date. This will allow a student to participate in the forum even past the due date. That item will be marked in your gradebook as a late submission, and you can choose whether you want to award full points or whatever your policy is going to be on late submissions. We'll save, go to the next item, which is an assignment. Again, edit. Add any of your own guidelines and instructions here. And then we have a space to enter in grade points. We see that we're allowing online submissions and file uploads. Keep it simple. And then we can enter a due date. And again, that last piece of graded content is going to be the quiz. Quizzes are fairly straightforward. Take a look at the options here. These are the default options. See if it works for your purposes. Click Edit, and you will be able to edit the instructions here and set any of those options. Like if you want to only give them one attempt at the quiz so they can't take it multiple times, that sort of thing. Due date down here. And then you'll go to the Questions tab, and this is where you will add your questions, and this is also what will affect your total grade points here. So there's not overall points for the quiz, it is based question by question. So you'll click on the Quizzes tab, hit plus new question, enter in your question here, make sure your grade points are up here, we'll make it worth 2 points. And you will have your possible answers here. Say red, blue, green. When you hover your mouse over each possible answer, it allows you to set that answer as the correct answer. So blue is what we're going with. You can also add feedback, things like that. But again, we're just going to keep it simple. This gets people a lot. Sometimes people will hit save and then they'll see that they have no question. You have to hit update question first. Now we have a question and now we can save the quiz. Enter as many questions as you want, play with the options as much as you'd like to. Again, we're here at the summary. It's a page, so it's simple to edit. Put in whatever you want and save or save and publish. So let's take a look back at the course home. Again, we'll make sure to change all of our templated stuff. Leave the student support resources that are generic. Look at each one of these pages that's linked. Make our changes as needed. I wanted to show you how to update your photo. Select your photo, and click this Embed Image option. Click on Canvas, and now you're going to choose, let's say, Course Files, and we're going to upload a file here. I've got a photo here. Open. And your photo is up, but it's not in until I hit update. I wanted to make a quick note about alt text versus decorative images. Decorative images are just that, decorative. They don't have academic value necessarily. So you don't need to use alt text. You don't need to describe what the photo is because it's just decorative. If you have a photo that you've put into your course and it's something that has academic value, like a chart, a graph, a table, even just a diagram that's simple but it needs some kind of description, that's when you make sure to put in that alt text. If it's something that needs a lot of description to explain what the image means, then keep the alt text short and simple and follow it up underneath with some text captioning. That's just text that's going to describe it. You're just typing beneath the photo, describing what the significance is, so any students can have the same experience whether they can actually see it or not. This item is decorative because it's a photo of the instructor, so we'll leave it as a decorative image. But I could uncheck that and say instructor photo if I wanted to. Either way is just fine. It will update and you can hit save or save and publish. So let's go back to the course home. And what we'll want to do is publish the course. And we'll want to check each item one more time. Make sure it's published. This needs to be published. Back to the home page. Or syllabus. Syllabus doesn't need to be published, it just needs to be saved. Back to the course home page. Modules. Okay, so you can publish each item individually as you go, or you can publish the entire module, which is what we're doing now, and it will publish everything automatically. You can go ahead and spot check and unpublish them very, very quickly. We're going to leave them published for right now. Now, if you want to double check and make sure that your course is available as you expect, you can go to the home item and go into the student view. This allows you to see the course from the student's perspective. And again, it's a really handy way to make sure that everything shows up as expected. Again, if you're actually editing the template with your own content, you should have 0 highlighting left at this point. You'll see students can hit next, 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 next. And now we're done. Once you have Module 2, students will be able to click Next. You can select Leave Student View when you're ready to get out of that view. Well, we've covered quite a lot in a relatively short period of time. If you feel like your brain is spinning, take comfort in the fact that you can use this course content again next term by copying it over into your new course shell. Teaching online can be challenging, but I do hope that you'll come to appreciate the flexibility and the reward that comes from delivering quality online courses that ensure instructional continuity for students that need it the most. We will do our best here at Hartnell to support your teaching efforts, and thank you for spending the time and effort for your students. The next video in the series will focus on the capabilities of Confer Zoom for your online lectures, tell you what you need to know to grade your students' online submissions, and communicate with them. Thanks so much for watching.